Hello, welcome to the Astrology and Spirituality Show with Alyssa and Patrick Arundell for week commencing the 30th of August. As we make our transition from one month to the next, there is some exciting astrology going on. Not least that Mercury, the planet of communication, moves from its home zone of Virgo on Monday into the sign of Libra. Here Mercury is asking us all to sharpen up our listening skills. Now it is going to go on to forge a very constructive angle with Saturn later this week, and Venus also in its home zone in Libra forges a beautiful link with Jupiter later this week. So a relationship situation could shape up helpfully from both of these, but there is a quarter moon on Monday in the sign of Gemini. So in terms of the overall structure of the heavens, that creates 3-6. Axis. So that can create a little bit of nervous tension, particularly if we almost try to be too virtuous and pack in too much. So if you're wanting to, make sure things are running sweetly at home, very Virgoan with the Sun and Mars still in the sign, it's just saying to prioritize and not give ourselves too much to chew off to bite off, because it actually may become a little overwhelming. Despite that, Mars forges an awesome angle to Pluto this week. Pluto in the earthy sign of Capricorn and Mars in the earthy sign of Virgo. So if there's something we want to work on that's more tangible, where we do have a clear picture, a clear structure of how we're going to go forwards, our desire to make that happen is going to be enormous. Just to tell you that despite that Venus does forge that brilliant link with Jupiter, it does actually square up with Pluto towards the end of this week. We could encounter somebody who seems to offer us something absolutely amazing, and it may be completely genuine. But when these two are involved in a square, there can be some traction or leverage applied through charm, which obviously Venus governs, and Pluto of course can be to do with secret desire, so just be conscious of that. Also, as the week draws to a close, the Sun moves into a trine with Uranus. If this seems to chime, it's because Mercury and Mars have gone through the same angle with Uranus, so it's just pushing us to be open-minded about new approaches, but particularly around our resources. So we may not have any more money or any more possessions, but we might think about how we can make the most of them. So that could be, for example, repurposing something in a new way, upcycling something, selling stuff we don't any longer need. So that kind of stuff could be helpful. Now, in terms of the Hermetic wheel, what's the news on that this week?
Well, until Tuesday, we are still in the Eight of Pentacles feel, which is very much about mastery, going back to school, really deepening our knowledge in a subject. But then on Wednesday, this shifts and it changes into the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is about harvest. So the great side of harvest means that something is coming to fruition in our life, which we might feel we want to celebrate. But the downside of harvest is that there is still some hard work to be done to reap those rewards. So it's not the time to, rest on our laurels
Still
this
got to
week.
bring the crops in.
We've still got to bring those crops in, but we are going to see some things moving, changing, like more going towards our goals. So that is something we can hold on to.
Fantastic. Now, we don't think that we had a word of the week suggested for this week, so we're going to use the thought for the day jar that we used to use on the Daily Show. I think I picked last time, so I think you should do the picking.
Oh, right, I do the picking, you do the taking.
Right, there we go.
Right, okay. Ooh, okay. So the word on this card, wow, it's a deep one. It's forgiveness. So, forgiveness. The conclusion I've come to personally is that forgiveness doesn't mean that we condone a certain action.
That's good.
That we're saying, oh, well, that was okay. Forgiveness means that we just are not carrying that around with us anymore. And for me, forgiveness is a freedom of the person that's been hurt.
That's brilliant.
To get to at their own level. It's not something that has to be pushed on someone. It's not something that we should be forced to do. And it's not something that where we were saying that was okay what you did to me.
That's really, really fantastic.
Moving on from what happened.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
How do you feel about the word?
Yeah, I mean, there are certain situations in my life that I've really grappled with or still grappling with. But one of the things I've been trying to do more and more in recent times is just think of the people that may have not seen where I was coming from, seeing them in a different light, maybe see them as not having the knowledge I would like them to have, or maybe in some ways them being victims. So that's really helped me to let go a little bit. But I love the way Elisa's made it clear that actually if we hold on to things, it's us that we hurt. So that's very astute. Now, please send in your word of the weeks for this week commencing the 30th of August. And also, we don't think we had anyone sending in their birth details for the solar return analysis on the birthday. So how this works is for week commencing the 6th of September, if it's your birthday, starting that week, please let us have your birth information. And if you're the lucky winner, I'll do a short reading for you on screen. So we didn't have anyone for this week, we don't think. But we did have 2 suggested for the week before. And the person who wasn't successful, we actually sent her a 12-month forecast, but because we've got no one for this week, I'm going to speak of this person again. So it's Helen, you're based in the UK, you call yourself on YouTube Helen UK. So in terms of your natal horoscope, Helen, I think you know a little bit about astrology, perhaps a lot more than a little bit. But one of the things I would like to share with you is that your midpoint is 16 degrees Virgo. So although your sun is in Virgo and your moon is in Libra, the midpoint between those two is 16 degrees in Virgo. So you're going to like a degree of order in your home world for sure, like perhaps any Virgo would, but it will be a bit more personal with the moon being there, with the midpoint being there, sorry. But the crucial thing is that Venus and the North Node are also conjunct that midpoint, and they're both in the 5th house. So I think you're someone who probably likes quite a lot of joyfulness around you, particularly at home. So you might like a degree of order, but I think you probably enjoy playing mind host as well. But your Mars position is in the 1st house in Gemini, and therefore I feel you're someone who's quite active and needs to be on the move quite a bit, probably even in terms of your ideas. And there is a square between that Mars position and that clustering around your midpoint. So balancing your personal desires, Mars, against what's good for the home life may have been a little bit of a challenge at times in your situation. But you do have a wonderful trine between Jupiter and Mercury in your chart. So I think that you're a pretty buoyant person in your outlook. Now in terms of this year particularly, the big standout for me is that the midpoint for your solar return is actually conjunct your natal Mars. So in Gemini, natal Mars 14 degrees and this midpoint 15. So I think because your Mars is in the 1st house and this midpoint's in the 6th house, I feel your energy could be around changing your job in some way. You do have an opposition between Neptune and also Mercury on this midpoint. So although the midpoint itself forges a terrific angle with Mars in your solar return, which actually is in Virgo, so that's great for the detail of things, being of service, you do have Mercury opposite Neptune. Mercury also in its home zone in Virgo. So especially around discussing of finances, just really be sure that you've got every single detail nailed down. I think this is something that you're good at naturally, but I think you just need to keep your guard up a little bit, because Mercury opposite Neptune is the trickster link bar none. You know, what happens with Neptune is it distorts. So even if we read something very carefully, something might not quite be right. So if you can get second opinions on any important document or agreement, that would be a good thing. But I do think having the midpoint conjunct your Mars could give you quite a lot of energy this year in the sign of Gemini. And as Saturn moves forwards again in 2022, it's going to forge a nice sextile with them. And Saturn for you is going to be in it's going to move into your second house. So it can be a time to get really proactive about improving your financial situation. So I hope that's of interest, Helen. You of course had your 12-month forecast printed report as well, based on your transits. Now, if you would like to enter the prize draw, if your birthday is from the 6th to I think it would be the 12th of September, please send in the time, date and place of birth, and also where you live now, because that's crucial to get the accuracy on the solar return. Now, the card of the week, the modality, what are we going for?
Well, this week we're using the Archangel Gabriel Oracle.
I love Gabriel.
The communication angel. So let's see what message comes up.
Okay.
This week. Keep them shut.
Thank you for all your lovely comments as well. And yes, we've had some friends came to visit us one day this week, so that was lovely. But we've been working really, really hard. There's just like to announce that the year 2022 horoscope videos will be launched by I think Tuesday of this week. So watch out for those, please. And please keep an eye out for Elisa's Journey of the Tarot series, because due to various things, we're still painting the house. Things aren't going quite as quickly as we would like, but they are brilliant, and you can find them underneath this video in a link, and will give a lot of insights. They will eventually be the full major and minor arcana, all detailed. We're also rebuilding our website, so that should go live in about 3 or 4 weeks' time. So that's taken some time up this week. So quite a lot going on in the background with the house and work, and still enjoying this glorious location.
Yes. So we are ready with our card. So the card that comes up says gratitude. We've had this word a couple of weeks ago, I think, as well.
So we choose another card then?
Yeah, so we'll just read the message on this card. It says you attract more blessings when you appreciate your current blessings. So that's nice. So that's something to bear in mind.
Okay.
You pick. It says, listen only to love.
Oh,
what a message.
That's lovely.
It says, don't allow fear to distract you from your divine mission. How often can all of us get dragged into a negative mindset or even a fearful mindset? And that's because life does have things that are negative, that can have things that are fearful. But this card is saying this week it's really important for us to listen only to love, to know that love is, there in the world. Maybe reading some good news stories perhaps, or just balancing out any negativity that we are potentially consuming.
And perhaps with Mercury and Venus in Libra, that gives us an opportunity to try and find that balance, that equilibrium at times in what we all face. But if you've yet to subscribe to our channel, we'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Thank you again for all your comments, and especially to our patrons. We really appreciate, we are sharing perhaps not as much as we'd like, because I think you can see we're spinning quite a few plates, but we really appreciate your constant support. And have a great week, everyone. Please send in your birth details or your suggestion for the word of the week for the next show. But for now, for Mrs. Arundell, it is...
Goodbye. And
and
Mr. Arundell, it is...
Goodbye too. Goodbye.
Goodbye.